Hi, hello, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to talk to some real people about some real things, living real lives, doing real stuff. Maybe we're going to get some laughs, maybe not. We don't care either way. This is the Working Perspectives Podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied as always by my editor and producer, Tom Byers. Our guest today is Alex Lavelle. You can find us on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can find us on Spotify at The Working Perspectives Podcast. And you can find us on the Twitter at Working P Pod. All right. Yep. And if you want to be a guest on the show, email us at workingperspectives@gmail.com. All right. Let's get started. Okay, Shake. Let me tell you about this one. So right now, me and my wife have one child, right? And the discussion has come up before about the possibility of having more children, right? And I know you're one of 6, I'm one of 4. And obviously, you know, our parents were in huge families, but for these days, that's not really that's like a big number. You don't really see that much anymore. So when we're talking about having another kid, a lot of things come up. It'll be a big struggle financially and then, you know, physically, emotionally. We don't want to take anything away from the kid we have now, all these kinds of things, right? So when it does come up, I know it'll be tough, but there's one thought that comes to mind that makes me, you know, that comes to mind every time we're talking about the possibility of having more kids. Here it is. So when I was a freshman in high school, I wrestled at 189 pounds, right? I was not very good. I was like 5'2", 5'3", 189 pounds, not very good. Right. We then transferred schools when I was a sophomore. Right. And I went to another school. At this other school, I ended up dropping weight over the off season and getting down from 189. I got down to 145.
Damn.
Right.
How did you do that, by the way? This is a lot of like running with the trash bag on your body?
The trash bag stuff is when you run with like the plastic suit and the trash bag and stuff, that's like a quick cut when you need to cut out some pounds like in a short amount of time. This was like over like a few months. So I was running, but like I used to run and my dad would make me wear weights on my ankles and weights around my waist, like a weight belt around my waist and then weights on each ankle. Looking back on it, was a terrible idea for the weights on the ankles because my knees are just destroyed.
Damn.
But either way, but it was a lot of running and like obviously like a lot of off-season wrestling tournaments and training and things like that and dieting and just a ton of stuff. The tough thing was though is that I also grew like 4 or 5 inches in that summer or in that off season. So I went from like 5'2" to like 5'6" or 5'7" and 145 pounds. But the tough thing is like when you're growing that much, it's really tough to like keep the weight down.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So in my sophomore year, I'm wrestling. I made varsity like a couple times, but I wasn't like a staple on varsity. But I did for one match, I had missed weight, right? And when I missed weight, my dad was really, really angry because he's like, we did all this stuff. You made this huge commitment and you let your team down, you let yourself down, you're letting and you didn't live up to your word and your commitment and everything like that. Right. So when you do miss weight, you're on our team, you were suspended for 2 matches. Like you couldn't wrestle for 2 matches, but you still had to make weight. Right. So like a couple weeks go by, right? And I miss weight a second time, right? And when I miss weight the second time, I didn't tell my dad, right? And I forget why, but he was like late to the wrestling meet that night. And he was like, did you wrestle? I was like, no, I didn't wrestle. I was still on suspension, I told him, which I wasn't. So we're kind of in like the middle of the season. You know what I mean? I miss weight the second time. So then I'm suspended for 3 matches this time. And I still have to make weight. A couple weeks go by. I never told my dad that I missed weight the second time. So a couple weeks go by, and then we go to this tournament or this wrestling meet. It was called the Lafayette Duels, and it's where like a bunch of different teams would come, like from all different states or parts of the country, They would come and like wrestle each other, and it was at this Lafayette
Mm-hmm.
college, right? So I'm here. I had traveled with the team to go to the dual
Yeah.
meets, right? I make weight, everything like that. And my dad comes to the meet, but he drove separately because it was like a weekend thing, you know? So he drove separately. Not only did he show up, but he came with our guest today, my little brother, Alex. So you have to understand this, Shake. And I know you're a little brother and I'm a little brother, or a younger brother, I
Yes.
would say. And I'll tell you this, we get along now, but Alex was the quintessential little shithead of a little brother. All right. He was the spitting image, the textbook little shit. All right. And the problem is that Alex is a lot smarter than I am. So he would always have these little quips and these little
Big
comebacks.
problem.
And I couldn't match wits with him. It would make me so ungodly angry.
Yes.
Right. So we're at this meet, right? And my dad's in the stands, and like one of the meets going on, and I think my dad said to a parent, and he was like, why is this kid wrestling? I thought Matt would have been wrestling. And the parent said, no, Matt's on suspension. And then my dad was like, I thought his suspension ended. It was only 2 matches. And the parent was like, no, he missed weight again, 2 weeks ago or whatever. And my dad, the look on his face went from like, it was like, like he was fuming, right? Fuming angry. So angry. He was so angry that the parent who told him came up to me later and apologized and said they were like, hey, Matt, just want to let you know, I told your dad you missed weight and I'm sorry, but you're going to have to take your lumps, right? And I was like, oh, no. I miss, like not only did he find out, I'm like terrified. Not only that, and then my little shithead brother was there too. So I had to deal with that as well. Right. So we're walking to the car, and I don't know if they had this rule in your family, Shake. So like after the Lafayette duels are over and everything like that, we're going to the car to leave. And we had this rule in our family that the oldest kid sits up front,
of course.
right? No, like, so it just like stopped all the fighting about who got the front seat. Oldest kid sits up front,
universal
right?
rule.
So we're walking to the car. Exactly. Yeah. So we're walking to the car. You kind of got screwed on that deal. And so did Alex, but we're walking to the car. Right. And when we're getting to the car, my dad says, he's like, Matt, you're sitting in the fucking back, get in the back. And I was like, all right, no problem. Didn't want to be next to you anyways. Not a big deal. I'm sitting in the back and I'm like behind the passenger side, like against the window, just trying to be as far away from this guy as I can. We're driving back, and I would say it's like an hour or so from Lafayette to my mom's house. My parents were split up at the time. We were living with my mom, and my dad, the plan was he was like, take us, drop us off, and go. Lafayette is like, the Lafayette College is like probably an hour away from my mom's house. So I'm not going to lie. If I remember correctly, not one word was spoken on this drive home, right? Not one word. And I don't remember there being any music either. So I think it was just a car full of dead silence, right? And I could tell like my dad's like sitting at the wheel, just like fuming, We're driving back, and we get back to Lansdale, land of the free, home of the brave. And we're almost at my mom's house. And there's a 7-Eleven that's like kind of near my mom's, right? We stop at the 7-Eleven. He parks and goes inside, and me and my little shithead brother stay in the car, right? I don't know if it was the same way for your family, but it was for me. Like when one of our parents is mad, everyone kind of like read the room, and they're like, look, we're not fucking, let's not make this storm any angrier. You know what I mean? Like, let's just kind of, everyone rides it out, find some cover and let's get through this together. Kind
like
of
a little conference.
Yeah, like it was almost like nothing needed to be said. Everyone knew, like, fucking, let's zip it here. Let's just come on. And I think even Alex said to me, he's like, dude, he is so mad. And I was like, yeah, don't I know it? He gets back in the car, and he had like a bag of stuff, right? And I would, like, I just remember the bag like having just like a bunch of stuff in it. I didn't know what it was. We leave the 7-Eleven. We then go from the 7-Eleven and we go to my mom's house, right? And like I said, they were split up at the time. He was just supposed to be dropping us off. He pulls up in the driveway, parks the car, and says, Matt, get in the fucking house right now, right? I get out of the car, and I'm thinking to I remember standing there in the driveway just thinking to myself, like, fuck, like, just leave. You can just fucking Like run away, like run to fucking Dr. Jeff's house or something. He won't get you there, right? That's like, those are the thoughts going through my mind. But then it's also going through my mind the thought of like, you know, like you got to take your lumps. You know what I mean? Like you want to be a man, you got to take your lumps, you got to do your thing, you know, stuff like that, right? Which is, you know, it is what it is. It's all part of that macho mentality bullshit, right? We get to, we're at the house, right? And I'm in the driveway, like, you know, everything. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm not gonna run away. I'm just gonna go into the house, right? So I walk in the house. As soon as I walk in the house, I see my dad's. So when you walk in through the back door of my mom's old house, you went right into the kitchen, right? When I walk in, I see my dad standing at the counter in the kitchen and he's like holding a knife, right? And I didn't know what he was doing. But then I saw, so when he had gone to 7-Eleven, right? When he had gone to 7-Eleven, he had bought like a bunch of tasty cakes, right? And for those people who don't know, tasty cakes are like these little cake things, like little Debbie, like fucking Hostess kind of snack treats, right? He what he's doing is he's taking the knife and he's like cutting open the wrappers to the cake, right? I get in, as soon as I walk in the door, he grabs me by the collar, by like his left hand. And then with his right hand, he has like a tasty cake, right? And he's got me by the collar and he just goes wham, right? Like fucking nails me right in the head. And he's like, you want to eat, you fat fuck? Bam, right? Nails me, right? Then the second time, right? So then he grabs another tasty cake, bam, right? He's like, you want to eat, you fat fuck? Nails me again, right? And I'll tell you what, like I've been in cages and I've been in the ring and things like that, and I've been hit, and like it does go through your mind, like, you know, this was hard, but there's always like a time I'll be like, you know, I have been hit harder, and it's always that thought that goes to my mind. It's like, no, that was the hardest, right? So he hits me the second time, then he grabs another tasty cake. And he's like, bam, right? Third time, you fat fuck, you want to eat? Nails me. And this one like kind of rocked me even more, and like my knees just kind of went, like, you know how you see like the kids' knees like go to jelly and they fall, you know, like when you see the fights. So that's kind of what happened. So after that third one, I fell down and he gets on top of me and he has another tasty cake. I don't know where he kept getting these fucking cakes from, but he has another cake and he's like, bam, right again, hit me in the head again. My head hits the floor. And, you know, I've heard people talk about like scenarios like this and things like that. And the one thing that everyone universally felt is like abandonment, right? They're like, feel like there's no help coming, right? So I had that kind of thought going through my mind, right? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I hear this little shithead's voice coming through saying, you know, like, Dad, you got to talk to Mom. She's on the phone, right? So it's what Alex had done, he had called my mom and he's like, Mom, you know, Dad's fucking hurting Matt and all this stuff. And he's yelling, you know, he's yelling at my dad, like, Dad, take the phone. You got to talk to Mom, right? So my dad like takes the phone and he takes the phone and he doesn't even say anything. He's just like, you know? And then my mom's like, Andy, you've gone way too far. You got to stop. Get out of my house right now. I'm calling the police, blah, blah, blah. Right? So he doesn't even say anything. I think from what I remember, I don't really remember that well. He throws the phone, right? And it like breaks. And then he stands up, kicks me in the stomach, and gives the old farewell, see you later, right? Then he takes off. So he kicks me, storms out, slams the door, goes to the car, all that kind of stuff. So Shake, you know, we're not cops, right? Obviously, even though you got a sweet stash, we're not cops. And even though I'm jacked, we're not firemen. We're not, you know, we're not in the military. We're not first responders, and we're not, you know, on the front lines in the ER or anything like that, right? But to me, I feel like courage exists in a bunch of different places, and I think you would agree. And to me, seeing this little like 12-year-old kid stand up to this raging lion, right, to help protect a brother that he fucking fought with more than anybody else, right? To me, that's like the most courageous thing I've ever seen, you know? And so when my wife does talk about having, you know, more kids and stuff like that, I know it is tough, and I know it'll be tough financially, but thoughts like that come to mind where you need you need your brothers and
Amen,
sisters,
man.
you know?
Amen.
We've only ever talked about this once, me and Alex, so I wanted to bring it up and say thank you because I never thanked him and tell him I love him. And that I know he's doing great, and I know everything's great, and he's doing well in Chicago, and everything's going good. And I just wanted to say, have you seen the movie Bohemian Rhapsody? And if yes, what'd you think of that piece of shit movie?
No, I have not seen that movie. I have not. I have not seen Bohemian Rhapsody. I did see Rocket Man, about another famous gay guy that I thought was
Liked
was
Rocket
good.
Man.
I did like Rocket Man. I liked Taron Egerton or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I thought he did a good job.
Really good. Really, really good. Yeah. So, but what would you say? So wait, you haven't seen it?
What do you? Is this what you do? You sneak attack people on this podcast of yours? Yeah. I mean, I didn't really have a desire to see it, to be honest.
See, there you go. That's the right attitude you want to have. All right.
It didn't it never called out to me. It wasn't like, I love Queen.
Yeah.
I think they're amazing. I
Same,
love Freddie Mercury. I just didn't
not taking anything away from Queen. No, love Queen, love him to death. We've heard a couple times on this show, we've brought it up, but our good friend, the man, the myth, the Murph Meyer, brought up how they had midgets just carrying around a tray of schneef, right? And, they didn't have that in the movie, apparently. I don't know. I cut it off like a half hour in.
I mean, if they didn't have that, they didn't have the movie, as far as
I agree.
If they didn't have that, Peter Dinklage really missed out on that role.
No. That would have been the role. That would have been the role of the millennium.
That was the game of roles.
Oh my God!
And it didn't happen.
That would have been the best role of all time.
But what I never told Matt was, and I think now's the time, is that he's wondering where my dad was getting all these tasty cakes from, and what he doesn't remember is I was standing there handing him the tasty cake.
Oh my God. Nuh-uh.
He was like, it's like a doctor, like scalpel.
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
the nurse, like, here we go. Here's another one. Give him another one. This time harder.
Scalpel, they crimp it.
Good one. Take a butterscotch, you bastard.
Oh my God.
Hear that? Hit him with this.
Yeah, I don't.
Hit him with the chocolate junior.
Yeah. Here's a fucking coconut cream.
No, I thought it was a Hostess cake. To be honest, I thought it was one of those big chocolate Hostess cakes.
I'm remembering
the wrappers. You would more than I do, because what happened was he went right in the house and was like, get inside, right? And then Matt stayed back and like slowly came inside.
Yeah, and I was contemplating running.
Right, like Matt was like walking very slow.
Very, very slow.
And I was like, but I was like, I just went inside. So I walked right behind him, and I saw him like fucking with the tasty cakes. I didn't know what the fuck he was. I was like, all right, let me get the fuck out of here. This is weird. And I went into the living room, and then it all just like happened behind me. And I turn around, and I just see them in the kitchen. And at that point, Matt was like already on his back.
Yeah.
It was like, it happened very quick. But that was.
Could you imagine if Mom didn't answer on the first ring?
She never picked up her phone. That was the other thing. She
never answered her phone.
But my immediate reaction was like to curl up in a ball on the couch. I was like freaked out by the whole situation. Didn't want to be near it. And then my next thing was to like get up and call someone. Yeah. But
well,
it was
thank
like
God you did.
it was very shitty
Yeah.
situation.
Let's
all
just
around.
say this, though. I will say this, and I know that story makes my dad look bad, but I love my dad, and I know Alex does too. And he was sick at times, and I know that makes him look bad, but it doesn't mean that we don't love him very much.
I mean, I would say that was probably one of his worst moments.
I
That
would say.
that I saw.
Agreed.
I mean, but definitely that was up there as one of the worst moments. Definitely like probably the worst moment that I witnessed. Being the youngest, I got lucky in some regard. I feel like the older ones had to deal with more of that shit. One time though, I will tell you. So different story. So I was a runner, like a runner in the
Big
sense
time.
of I would run
He
away.
wasn't.
I was
Yeah,
like, if it were me in that car, first of all, I quit wrestling. Like I wasn't gonna do that shit. Like once it came to making weight, I was like, I'm not wrestling anymore. I can't eat pizza on pizza day. What kind? This isn't America that you're raising us in. This is, this is
communist Russia.
Exactly. And so I wasn't about it, but until high school when I was like, wait a second, there are some advantages to it. But but then no, so I was a runner, and I remember one time I was probably around the same age. Actually, I think he still lived at the house, so this was like the year before. And I was arguing with my mom about something, and then my dad got like angry at me, and then I don't know what happened, but he ended up like chasing me. He was like pissed that he was like chasing me around the house. Well, I mean, running away from people in that house was like a part-time job for me. There were many a
happened
chase.
a lot.
So I just kicked right into, like, instinct took over, and the chase was on, and I just acted the way I would. So I went right around the dining room table, right? And our dining room, it was in like this, its own room. So I was going around the table, and as I'm circling around the table, I'm tipping chairs over behind me to leave obstacles. Well, I got him, and he tripped over a chair. And I was like,
oh, you just made it so much worse.
Right, because like that's when you go from
so fucking mad. That's when you're like, oh shit, I need to stop.
Yeah, that's when you're like, this could end in the hospital for me. Like this could be bad. And so I remember like seeing him trip over the chair, and it wasn't even graceful, right? Like he stumbled, probably hurt his shin.
He was partially blind at this time too, right?
I mean, I don't know. I never bought any of that when I was younger. I was like, I don't buy it. This guy's
just
making
an
it
angle.
up. He said he's got a bad memory, but whenever I would try to test it, I'd be like, Dad, I didn't get allowance this week. He'd be like, yeah, you did. He'd be like, no, you didn't give it to me. You don't remember. But he would always. So I was skeptical. But he tripped, and it looked like it hurt a little bit, and it definitely didn't. It got him angry.
When he would get mad and like say he stubbed his shin, he would grind his teeth and go, son of a bitch.
It was like that energy was there. I don't know. I turned around and I saw him, and then he looked at me, and I was like, oh God. I stopped running at that point.
Yeah.
So I was like,
you knew you're like, oh, fuck on me.
Like there's no door I can hide behind in this house. But then Mill comes out. Mill to the rescue is really what it is. I mean, that's the theme of both of these stories. But Mill comes out and comes in between us. And I was like, thank God. And she was like telling him to calm down. So I was like, so I got saved by the bell on that one. I didn't even get.
Yeah, Mom was also trying to hold in a laugh of like, you made your like.
I don't think so. I think she was legit. Like she could have lost.
He's gonna kill him.
Yeah. I think she knew that shit, like that was bad. But she was over it too, because like
Yeah.
here she is, you know, yeah, she got in an argument with an 11-year-old or whatever that might have been being disrespectful or whatever, but like then the situation is 10 times worse now, and so she's just over it. She's like, I don't need
Yeah.
someone chasing the kids, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I just need help with the laundry, you know. I mean, I don't know. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
When me and Tom have talked about this, how we like, and we will say that you have brass fucking balls, because whenever it was us, we wouldn't run. We would just we would just be hit, you know. But whenever it was you, I remember one time, I don't know if we can tell this story. You locked yourself in the bathroom,
that was good.
and
It's just like a little one of those, the tiniest, thinnest little metal sliding locks,
Yep.
just gracefully placed in the door.
Yep.
No.
Yeah. And then and he was like, Alex, open the door or it's going to be a lot fucking worse. And you just said no. And then he kicked the door in.
I was actually walking over to the door when he kicked it out. I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, he's kind of right. I'm cornered here. I mean, we're on the second
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a prickle bush outside. Can't really jump to the tree. So what are you going to do? So I was like, all right. I was walking to the door and then it opened. And then I'm like, what'd you do that for? You know, like I was about to open it. Come on. Get a hold of yourself.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what you said.
No, there wasn't much time to say anything. It was like,
all right. So, all right. We've talked about this kind of stuff enough, but let's keep it moving. So,
sure.
Speaking of memories,
you don't want to talk about abuse, though? Tell us about your family abuse.
Right in your on Instagram. Right in your family abuses.
Right in. Tell us about stories where your parents could have gone to jail had the authorities found out.
All right, so we've talked about enough memories that were really lame, but now it's time to introduce a new segment we cooked up called Memory Lame.
Where do these bizarre memories come from?
So in English, if you say this is lame, when you're describing something, what you are saying is that it's not cool, it's not awesome, it's not interesting.
Now that's lame as in L-A-M-E, lame like not cool. So this is where we review something that's from the 90s and decide if it was totally radical or if it sucks a big time. So if you want to join in the fun, submit your memory lame suggestions to us on Twitter at WorkingPPod or on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast. I would like to say we have 2 memory lame suggestions that we will be using today. The one is from Alex Lavelle, and the other one is from former guest of the show and friend of the show, Jason Bowers. So, all right, Alex, as the guest of the show, it is our honor and our duty to let you select the first memory lane.
All right.
Topic. All right, hit us. What do you got?
How about the Franklin Institute?
Oh, okay. So for people,
that's very
all right.
nice, right?
So for people in the Philadelphia area, know this: the Benjamin Franklin Institute is a museum in Philadelphia, and every kid in the Philadelphia area went there for a field trip. Every damn one of them. We've all been there. The Omniverse Theater, the stupid fucking star thing.
Yeah.
The heart, the beating heart was a
that
big
you can
attraction.
Walk through. Yeah.
So side note,
Train.
friend of the show and owner of Scott and Bell Publishing, Ron Scott Lesky, no, we don't have to cut his name. He was a guest. But friend of the show, guest of the show, and owner of Scott and Bell Publishing actually got married and had his reception at the Benjamin Franklin Institute, and it was freaking awesome.
That's genius.
Dude, it was so badass because
I
like you
know.
walk into the lobby, it's beautiful. It's this beautiful old building. It's
Yeah.
so nice. And like we could just walk around the whole place and do whatever we want.
Yeah, super
But
cool.
he got in like the way they had it set up, like we were hanging out on the roof and everything. It was so cool, man. Really, really cool.
We have to be non-partial, though. We're talking about Franklin Institute as kids. As kids.
Did the public school kids go to
yes.
this?
Oh yeah, I went to it. I remember the year I was supposed to go to it. I was sick. It's one of those. I don't know about you guys, but if you remember, like trying to fake being sick, and then it was really weird when you actually
I
were
was very
sick,
good at it.
and you were like, "Whoa, this is actually."
Yeah, and then you want to do something.
So I was actually sick the day we went on the field trip to Franklin Institute, and either my mom or my dad felt bad for me, so they brought me there as like a citizen, like a civilian. And when my class was there, I like called out sick that day, and I think either my mom or my dad. I mean, it must have been my mom. My dad would have been at work, I guess. But my mom, she just decided last second, like, screw it, I'll bring him there. I remember we went there, and then like I walked with my classmates, but it was like, unofficial. This is when I was at Knapp Elementary, KNAPP.
Nowadays, that wouldn't fly.
They wouldn't
wouldn't be able to do.
That's right. I remember. Do you guys remember when they had the age, like fast forward machine, where you could take a picture of yourself?
Oh yeah.
This is what you're gonna look like.
Now they have that on Instagram.
Yeah. Remember you could you could make paper as well, and they also had the train in there that would go like 15 feet on the train ride.
Yeah. I feel like Instagram maybe has destroyed the Franklin Institute because a lot of things.
We all would agree.
I remember when I went there, they had
the Franklin Institute is much more profitable than Instagram, in my opinion. So we'll see who wins. See who wins that game.
I would say so. Okay, so we've got enough info here. Let's go to a vote. Alex, since you submitted this, please provide us with your vote on the Franklin Institute. Is it lame or radical?
I think it's radical. I mean, I loved it then. I love it now. I mean,
it was awesome.
Memory, but it's not lame.
It's all right. Shake, rattle, and roll. What are your thoughts on old BFI?
The Frank Sinatra Institute. I loved it. No, the Ben Franklin Institute. I'm gonna go. Ooh, this one's right down the line, man. I gotta go lame. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to the Franklin Institute.
And you voted skip it was cool.
Yep.
Radical.
Yep.
And the Franklin Institute. That tells you what kind of kid you are.
Listen, this is a blind vote, okay? You're barred from commenting.
They let you in when you were sick. Imagine if you were sick that day and your mom's like, "Oh, here's a skip it. Go have fun."
You go. Here's a skip it.
Yeah. Hey, you can't go see, you can't walk through a beating heart, but how about you put this plastic thing on your leg and spin it around till it rubs it raw, huh? All right, so okay, and I'm gonna vote radical for the Ben Franklin Institute as well, and I will say it's a great place to have a wedding reception. Just anyone out there, anyone to the dozens and dozens of our listeners, if you're thinking of getting married, it's a great place to have a reception. So, and it was very spacious, so you can keep your 6 feet thing. So either way, all right, so. Shake, rattle, and roll. Are you going to introduce one of yours, or are you going to use one of the two that we have from
let's do the social media submissions.
This is actually a historical moment. So this is the first ever guest submitted memory lane topic that we will be using, and the honor goes to Alex Lavelle for the first ever submission to the memory lane segment, and the submission is Tamagotchi.
Well, if it isn't Tamagotchi, her new favorite pet.
Yes.
So what's that make me? Fish sticks?
Oh, are you hungry?
Oh, no. By all means, feed it. Play till your heart's content.
Look, Goldie. I took good care of her, and she changed again.
Change? How about changing some water here?
Katie, bus is here.
So Tamagotchi can pause. I can pause too. Want to see that again?
Hatch a Tamagotchi.
Do we remember
the one and only
Tamagotchi?
From Bandai.
Yeah, we
Each
remember
sold
Tamagotchi.
Oh, Tamagotchi, huh? Shake, rattle, and roll. Give me your thoughts on the old Tamagotchi.
Jealous of the people who had it. Never possessed one myself in a timely manner. Would get
Same.
them like, all the fads that came out, I would get them like secondhand. Tamagotchi is one of those words that clearly comes from what I would assume is like a Japanese company. And where we grew up, there just wasn't any Asian culture whatsoever. And I did not know that like.
Whoa, golden chopsticks.
Well, sorry, golden chopsticks. But I did not know that was a foreign word. And if someone asked me to like spell it, I would have spelled it. Maybe this ties into my world famous Hall of Fame bad spelling ability, but but anyway, yeah.
I mean, it must run in your family because your wife's a terrible speller. Also, if Alex would have listened to today's episode, he'd know what I'm referencing.
Well, I'm not going. Now I'm not going.
Well, good.
So I already know what
we
you're
got
talking
plenty
about. I already know all the topics.
Alex, did you have a
All right.
Tamagotchi?
So
I feel like you did back in the day. You had some.
Yeah.
Did I own a Tamagotchi? No.
You seem like you'd be a Tamagotchi. You'd seem like you'd be a Tamagotchi.
I think you did have a Tamagotchi.
Yeah, I think. Well, okay. Well, I'm pretty sure I did not have a Tamagotchi ever.
Are you sure though?
Is this how these episodes go? You just you invite people on and then you contradict everything they say. I didn't have a goddamn Tamagotchi. All right, I didn't want.
All right.
You want to know my vote for him? I can give you my vote, but I no Tamagotchi for me. I had friends that had Tamagotchis in school. Usually they were girls, and I knew the concept. There was a girl that lived down the street. There was a neighbor. We had a neighbor girl that lived down the street. She had a Tamagotchi.
Nice girl, nice family.
Yeah, I remember she explained the concept to me. She explained the concept to me, and it just didn't grab me. You have to like clean up their poop, and I didn't like doing that for our live dogs. You had to feed them. You had to.
I didn't know there was a shit detail.
Yeah, and then like they get bigger, but if you don't feed them, then they die. It was like this weird thing. I don't know. I wasn't a fan. Oh, but I have another one. Damn, I wish I would have said it.
You can say it right now. Hold on, wait. Vote. We're voting. I've never. So Shake, you go. What's your vote?
I'm gonna vote lame on these things, man.
Alexander, your vote?
Lame.
All right, I'm gonna lame it as well. So it's a Mondo lame.
Lame.
Put in the books, Mondo lame. All right, Alex, what was the thing you just thought of?
Okay, now if this is on another episode, you gotta forgive me. But what about Chia Pet?
There's a new pet.
Chia.
Chia Pet, the pottery that grows. It's fun, easy, and educational. Just soak your chia overnight. Then spread the seeds like this. Keep it watered and watch it grow.
Chia.
And before you know it, your chia pets and trees will be green and beautiful for everyone.
Chia.
And now grow a whole
That was a great catchy tune. Catchy tune.
Nothing is as good. The catchiest tune in all of the Tri-County area is Foreman Mills. Remember, I heard my first Foreman Mills commercial here in Chicago the other week, and I had to call someone. I was like, I just heard a Foreman Mills commercial. This was amazing.
Is that the one where it's Barbera's the best boy, I guess?
No, it's just Foreman Mills. They just go back and forth. Foreman Mills. Then there was also, if we want to talk catchy jingles, there was also Mattress Giant.
Yeah.
So good.
Only in Mattress Giant. Only in Mattress Giant. I'll tell you what. When I listened to this week's episode, on this week's episode, Shake played the Skip It theme, which I had forgotten how catchy it was. Skip it, skip it.
Yeah. They trick you into thinking it's good. Nothing was as good as what was the one that was
Bop it?
No. Oh, Bop It. Bop It was actually, I don't know. Did you guys vote on Bop It yet?
No, but it was kind of brought. We passed over it because when
bring
the
that
Skip
one
It
up.
song came out, really should have listened to the episode, Alex. But when the Skip It song came out, I was saying the Skip It song like it was Bop It, but it wasn't. So either way, so let's get off the jingies for a quick sec. So what
Chia
was the
pet.
thing again? Chia pets.
You guys ever-
Yeah.
So has
Yeah, go
anyone
ahead.
ever seen a chia pet in real life?
Yes.
I have.
Yes.
But I can't even tell you where.
have
But it was
not.
always at a weird. It was at a weird
Yeah.
person's house. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
Let me lay down a great chia pet example of when these things have entered actual reality. In my family, like we said, six kids. So 5 boys, 1 girl. My sister was the oldest, and
Oh, poor sister.
every single
Poor Winnie.
year for Christmas, we would get loaded up with all kinds of sports stuff, sweatshirts, starter jackets.
Baseball
what's the
mitts,
footballs
yeah.
called? The hutch footballs.
Yep.
all kinds of
Oh,
stuff.
dude, yeah. And the Nerf ones
The
too?
Nerf,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Vortex, all that great stuff. And what did my poor sister get? She would get herself some chia pets, man.
What?
Yeah, I could picture my dad, like my poor dad, just being like, "Whoa, I got all these, I got all these boys, these sweet, like jerseys and all kinds of stuff. What do I get my daughter? Get her a chia pet." She probably yelled at him not to get like shirts or whatever.
Dude, that's the best.
So that's
That is
how
the
you.
best.
No.
All right. So okay, so let's give it a vote ski real quick. Alexander, the chia pet, your vote.
Lame.
Thomas Michael.
Lame.
Yeah, I'm gonna round it out with another Mondo Lame. That's 2 Mondo Lames in a row. All right. Here is the last memory lame thing that we're bringing up that was submitted to us. Now, this is the second ever guest submitted memory lame topic going down in history, submitted by our good friend and friend of the show, former guest of the show, Jason Bowers. And the submission topic is Pogs.
Millhouse, I gotta have my soul back. I'll do anything you want.
Well...
Millhouse, give him back his soul. I've got work tomorrow.
I'm really sorry. I kinda traded your soul to the guy at the comic book store. But look, I got some cool Pogs. Elf Pogs. Remember Elf? He's back. In Pog form.
You traded my soul for Pogs?
What do we know about Pogs?
Man, I just want to vote right away. What do we have to even say about it? I know that they were popular with
Big
people.
time.
I
Big
can't
time.
even. They like are little Pogs.
Yep.
They're like
I
little
kind
round.
of don't know how. I mean, the way the game's played,
No idea. No clue
no
how
idea.
it's played.
Just know, like,
I know that you have to be wearing a pair of hush puppies to play. You
Sure.
probably need slacks. It's one of those games.
Yeah, you're definitely in a Catholic
A
school outfit.
sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You need.
I wonder what the difference between Catholic school and public school was with these like various Beanie Babies, Pogs, Tamagotchi. Did they make it seem like, hey, this is a Catholic school, you're not having this crap here, or was it very prevalent?
No.
You were allowed to have it, but it was just like any. I feel like it was just like a public school. Like you were allowed to have them, and kids were allowed to play with them and stuff. But like you weren't allowed to play with them when they were teaching.
Clue. They couldn't keep up with the '90s. They had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, they were too busy trying to get Channel 1 on.
Yeah, and then Columbine happened, and it was like, that's what they're worried about. Nobody gave a shit what toys we were playing with.
Oh my God, Pogs. I remember some of the designs being pretty cool. I remember I did have a friend that was really into Pogs way after Pogs had left the scene.
I think Tom was into Pogs.
Yeah, he was. Everyone was. They had like special containers and everything. Pogs were a big deal.
And let's be honest, those containers were very phallic. You might have yourself a 6-inch container, and then you go to the mall or something, and somebody's got themselves like a 24-inch container holding all.
Oh yeah.
There's not much subtlety going on there with that one. And then the slam. You guys remember slammers?
Oh, slammers were the gimmick, babe. You had to have a good slammer.
I remember being at Memorial Park, watching my brother, one of my brothers, I don't know which one, playing baseball. And
One
I
of the
think
30
I
of them.
lost a slammer or something. It rolled down the stands or something. And one of the worst moments. A lot of great moments and a lot of bad moments in those stands at Memorial Park.
I'll tell you a great moment at the Memorial Park stand. So, Shake, I believe you were here for this, but it was like our whole gang. We were kind of just like hanging out. Jack was playing, I believe, and like we're hanging out in the stands, and your mom was there, and like we're all like kind of sitting, like your mom's like there sitting with us, and there was like a bunch of families next to us, and I told the joke, and the whole stands heard it and lost their shit. This is the joke I told. What is the difference between an Irish wedding and an Irish funeral? One less drunk. And it brought the house down. I'm telling you, they were losing it in the stands at Memorial Park.
That's good stuff.
Losing it.
There's a bunch of Italians there.
It was Italian.
Yeah.
Ballpark.
Yeah. Yeah. All the people at Riccardi's are going nuts. Yeah.
Some of the homeless guys that were there, they were loving that one.
Yeah, Library Bob, he was all about it. So, okay. So, all right, let's give this a vote. So, since I brought it up, I'm going to vote Rad on Pogs. Tommy or Shake?
Yeah, I'm going to vote Rad.
What? No.
All right, so is it a Mondo Rad? Did we go Mondo Rad?
I mean, I think it's lame. I'm just going to say it.
So just a regular Rad.
But
what did you vote?
I vote
What's
lame.
your vote?
I vote lame.
You vote lame. You vote lame.
I will.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not.
Let's say this about Pogs, though. Clearly, Pogs are a reverse engineered fad where somebody somewhere was like, listen, we got all this cardboard laying around. How could we possibly raise the value of these circles?
Yep. Cardboard, metal, and plastic. Let's put some stupid shit on it and get
now the memory's flowing. I've got another one that you could use for next episode.
All right. Well, hey, guess what? If Alex or if any one of our listeners wants to submit their memory lane suggestions, just submit it to us on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast or on the Twitter at Working P Pod. All right, so that was memory lane. All right, let's move the fuck on. Okay, fans, now for a break in the action, we're going to introduce a new segment to the show. This is The Date You Hate with our good friend Thad Bach. Thad, what's the date and what do you hate?
Hey, Matt. The date is November 14th, 1740. Now, these guys down in Philadelphia think it's a good idea to make this university, Penn University. These kids don't need school these days. I mean, you got to be out in the fields and, like, plowing and stuff and farming. Like, these kids don't need to read books. Books make you stupid. That's the date. That's what I hate.
And that was The Date You Hate with Thad Bach. Now, back to the show. Okay, so I want to keep it moving because I'll tell you this, Shake, and you agreed. So we've had plenty of people on this show thus far, and we've been blessed to have every guest on here. Truly a blessing. Can't say thank you enough to all our guests that have come on. But when the people come on, we go over a list of jobs that they have. And the previous winner for most jobs had was our friend, the man, the myth, the Murph Meyer, had a shit ton of jobs. But that record was obliterated by our current guest today. So let me just give you a little background. Alex Lavelle here was born in Thousand Oaks, California, then moved to Lansdale, PA, land of the free, home of the brave, when he was
3 or 4.
Yep. So then Alex went to Catholic school from kindergarten to 6th grade, then gave Catholic school the boot, then went to public school from 7th grade till he graduated high school, then went to Montgomery County Community College, then Millersville University, and then ended up moving to Chicago and graduated from Columbia College Chicago, majoring in theater direction. In the theater. Alex was quite a little sports guy coming up, played soccer till 6th grade, baseball till 6th grade, did taekwondo till 5th grade, did some wrestling from kindergarten until like 5th grade, then joined the high school wrestling team when he was in high school. Then he, then theater and certified. He's certified in theater in stage combat with swords, daggers, quarterstaff, and unarmed. He's traveled to Europe and lived in Hawaii. All right. Guy's got quite a cool story, so let's get into it. So, Alex, sports coming up. You played soccer and baseball and stuff, but you weren't in love with it, right?
I liked soccer. Baseball wasn't bad. I got to see good old Tom Byers on the pitch.
Yeah.
We don't say that in America, but on the field, I used to see Tom. Tom was such a dick. He would be like, I would go up to bat, and at that point I could switch hits because we had the pitching machine. But Tommy would be like, "All right, everybody, bring it in."
Get out! I did not.
You did. You totally did.
Yeah.
I know, but I was like, "Fuck you," and then I would be. But it's all right. I remember that. Tom. I hit a double.
Yeah, some things you never forget.
So go screw. And I was left.
And Alex, it should be mentioned right here in the sports segment, if we're reviewing your sports background. Could you please regale us with the story of your nickname in Little League, which was? Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, the Moose.
Tell us the one fateful year.
Wait. I don't remember this. Alex, your nickname in baseball was the Moose or just Moose?
It was Moose. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we were like capital signs or something, but that year, but they didn't have enough jerseys, and the only jersey that matched our thing was the Moose, and it was my second year on the team, and I was like, oh, I got this. Like, give me the Moose.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. And so I was the Moose, and it was great. And then I remember we ended up getting new jerseys partway through the season, and I brought the Moose jersey to the games, and I had it framed and would hang it up in the dugout.
What? Is that real?
It's so fun.
How old were you at this point? You were 10?
Yeah, 11.
That's like my favorite thing in the world is my friends from when I was a kid, like making a mockery of institutions that took themselves way too seriously. And I was way too into sports and all that stuff, too competitive to like realize how funny and like goofy it could be. And so in our Little League, we had sponsorships. So like the local plumber or the local car dealership would, sponsor your jerseys.
Yep.
And then there would be the red team and the blue team and the green team and whatever, but it would have like some company on the front of it. And Alex's team, like he said, was what was it?
Capital Signs, I think.
But for whatever reason, he had to get a different jersey. Was it a size situation?
Yeah, and the Moose jersey was like really big.
Yeah,
too.
There was one that there was a local bar near us called the Moose. It's like a Moose Lodge, like one of those weird bars where you have to have a membership and probably some not cool situations.
Like the Elks Club.
Yeah.
The Moose.
Yeah, Sons of Italy, something like that.
And that was awesome, man. I remember like my team was like super competitive. Like the kind where the coach is like yelling at you and you're like stretching before the game.
I know. The light blue. You were in the light blue.
We were
shirt.
What were you, Clemens?
Yeah. We were not in the
and then we played this team with Alex on it, and he hung up That is crazy.
We were like singing in the dugout. I used to get in trouble for singing too much in the dugout. I'd be like late to practice. You know, it was much more relaxed, much more fun. And it was my second year on the team, so like we were like the older kids on the team that year. Plus with the Moose jersey, I mean, normally it's the bigger kids that wear it. So it would be like Vernon that would be in like or like Donnie that would be in the Moose jersey because it was like an adult sized jersey.
Yeah.
What kind of songs were you singing?
I remember specifically that year, the song that I was singing was The Way.
Oh, excellent. Yes.
It was like, you know, I forget, was it, who even sings it? I don't even remember, but.
The Way?
Anyone can see the road that they walk on his face.
Oh my God.
Where were they going without heaven? This is a good jam. I hear it on the radio.
Great tune.
Like,
Did you sing it because the name of the band was Fastball? Like, is that why you sung it, or is it just a coincidence?
Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't think so. It was popular that year, and it just happened to work,
so
you know? Thank God it was before that All-Star song came out.
Yeah.
Because that would have been annoying. But The Way, I was, like, singing that song all day. And, like, the team dads were like, all right, give it a rest.
That's so funny.
I was like, I need some Gatorade, and I'm out of Gatorade. I need more Gatorade and Big League Chew.
Yeah.
I love
some that year. It was a good year for.
You made the All-Star team that year, I believe.
I did, yeah.
Oh,
this
look
guy
at
was running
you!
amok, man. He was a problem on all corners.
That was when the pitching machine actually made a big.
Yeah.
Was a big,
I remember I won the home run derby the one year when we got the pitching machine.
Yeah.
Alex, do you remember when you and I had a collision in the on the base path?
Yeah, you were on first.
Yeah,
I was
a second base.
I ran into you. No, you were first, weren't you?
I was a second baseman, but you bunted. You either bunted or hit the ball very short, so that the first baseman had to come up and field it. So in that situation, the second baseman sprints over to cover first.
And did you run into him? Did you smash him?
I plowed into him.
He trucked me so bad, and I remember. This is a really weird thing to do.
I think that was the game where you told everybody to move it in. And then I bunted. I might have done it the second time I was up to bat. Because you had already told everybody to move it in. I think I hit a double. I remember that game. I did very well that game.
Oh, look at you.
And then they were mad at me. I think the parents were like mad at me or something because I was like bigger than Tommy.
Yeah, you laid me out. The fans were not happy.
They always got mad at me.
All right, so okay, let's keep it going then. So you played some baseball. You did wrestling when we were kids. Then you kind of stopped for a while, and then did taekwondo.
Yeah.
Then you came back to wrestling when you were a sophomore and junior, and half of your senior year when you were in high school.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to bring up that despite like some sports go before middle school, you would never think of me as an athletic kid when we were at least in middle school. I would never. I was like, I gained like 30 pounds going in. And I was very pasty and not athletic, and I never played football, so I couldn't, or basketball. So like those sports were just not. I wasn't with it. I couldn't rollerblade. I just couldn't keep up.
You did,
and I think you grew up in like a super duper athletic environment. So like, if you
a very rollerblade heavy, basketball and football heavy environment.
I think if you were,
soccer was for the kids a little bit outside of the borough. Kids in the borough didn't play soccer, and that was my favorite.
Soccer's for the socias.
Yeah, I'm a soc at heart.
Yeah,
you know?
We know.
And ice hockey too.
Is that right?
All right, fans, time for a break in the action. We're bringing back one of our favorite segments, 90 Seconds of 90 Day Fiancé, where we talk about the show 90 Day Fiancé from the TLC channel. This is a show where immigrants try and trick ugly Americans into marrying them to get green cards. Our good friend, party boy Pete McCormick, is going to tell us about some of his favorite stories from that show. Pete, what's the story?
What's up, party people? This is Party Boy Pete McCormick with 90 Seconds of 90 Day Fiancé, and today we are going to be talking about George and Anfisa. George is a 20-something-year-old man from California, and Anfisa is a 20-year-old woman from Russia. When he didn't send her the jewelry she wanted, she deleted the operating system for his phone remotely. She also canceled his plane tickets to meet her in Russia and changed the password so he couldn't rebook. When they got to the U.S., George had made promises of a high lifestyle, but they're living in a Motel 6 while he sells drug cigarettes on the side. Apparently, he can't get an apartment due to this. When they meet his sister, she asked Anfisa about getting a prenup, and Anfisa laughs and says, "What are we getting a prenup for? George doesn't own anything." Anyway, George is in jail now for drug smuggling. I think Anfisa's going to wait until he gets out. If not, big surprise. Anyway, back to you, Matt.
All right, and that was another segment of 90 Seconds of 90 Day Fiancé with our good friend party boy Pete McCormick. Now, back to the show. So let's keep it going. One thing I did want to get into, when did you get certified in stage combat? And I know I said swords, but that generalized a bunch of things.
Yeah.
So explain to us, what are the things you're certified in stage combat with?
Yeah. So in theater school, there are no sports, right? So actually, when I transferred to my college, the only credits they didn't accept were from my associate's degree was a gym class, because they didn't have any equivalents at the art school that I went to. So
Boo.
yeah, so the only like athletic thing is stage combat. And it's the coolest department, so everybody wants
Dude,
to
it sounds so awesome. I
Yeah.
would love to
And
learn
the guy
I
that
would love
runs
that.
the stage combat department at Columbia College is like really well known in the theater community. He helps out on all the big productions that come to town, and he also does like his own Renaissance Fair traveling act thing with like he's a stage combat master. So there are stage combat masters. There's only like so many of them, like 20 of them in the country, and they like are the next level of certification, and they do all the adjudicating when you get certified, and they just know everything. They know all these fights, and it's like next level
What
stuff.
kind of money are we talking for a master stage fighter?
Not a lot of money, no, because it's still
Okay.
theater. But like if you're getting film work, maybe, but
Well,
like for stage,
I know that. So like I know on Game of Thrones they had a combat expert. He was like this Irish guy whose nose was like mushed into his face. He was all kinds of jacked. But like that guy got to be making some paper.
yeah,
you
he's
know?
probably doing fine. But film is just a different. Film has money, theater.
Okay,
does.
so but like a
I think
guy who
theater
is
like non-profit, film is for profit.
Right. I got it. But like like a guy who's trained in stage combat can then transition that to film in cinema, right?
But a lot
Or
of
no,
them,
is it
a lot
two
of them
different
do,
kind
but
of?
it's different.
Yeah,
It is different because when you do something for
you
the
shoot
stage,
it from different angles and stuff, right?
yeah, you have there's different requirements, right?
Point
You have
of
to go a
view,
lot
yeah.
faster in film, and film you do
Oh.
different takes, but in on the stage, right, it's more like choreography. It's sequential, right? Like you can't stop it and then start it up. Like it's all got to flow. So it is, different, but like but also similar. Like you can watch old like 90s TV shows and like see the combat happening, and you can see what they do.
See, that's kind of badass. I would love to get to learn that, like theater and cinema, like both, like all times. Like you can have, like, it's a big difference between you have like the Rocky stuff, right?
Mhm.
Where it's like, mixed martial arts or boxing. Then you have the Game of Thrones stuff where it's all
Mhm.
swords and staffs and spears and all that gimmick. But then you also have like the Marvel stuff where it's like, who does that fight choreography? Like that's even crazier. So like
Mhm.
that stuff to me is fascinating, and it's really kind of cool that you picked up a niche like that. So what is like, so when you go to college, is that like a course that was just part of like the
Yeah, it's an
theater program
elective. No, it's an
okay.
elective that you can take.
So like for those of us that didn't go to college, what is an elected? Means like I'm
Okay.
assuming it means you don't have to take it, but you can.
Right. So like with any major that you have in college, you have like required courses that you have to take for that major. And then you'll have electives within different departments. So you might have more theater electives that you need to take, and then gen ed, general education elective.
Yeah.
So like science and things like that. So I just used it as my electives.
Nice. And it was, dude, I bet it was the best class, right?
Yeah, it is.
You know what
It's definitely the best. It's like its own club. And Carson's certified too. He was a teacher's assistant, actually. So he has more certs than I do. So
he would. He's a certified kind of bro. But I have thought of this for a bunch, and like I had a buddy who had come into the boxing gym, and we were talking one time. I'm like, dude, what are you doing this week? And he's like, bro, I got wrestling class tomorrow. And I was like, oh, you're wrestling? Like, what are you training for? Like Mawas or something? He's like, no. Like it's WWE style wrestling class. I was like, what? He's like, dude, I'm telling you right now, it is the funnest thing ever. He's like, it does, like, it's a good workout, and yeah, you're gonna take some bumps and things like that. He's like, it is such a blast. So when it comes to like, I've always wanted to learn fencing. I've always wanted to learn like sword fighting and like the bow staff stuff, but then also like WWE, like that stuff just seems like it'd be so much fun to learn and do and like be good at. And like also, like I know it's like a social sport, but fencing is badass, right? Like take away all the guns and shit. Swords are the fucking gimmick,